Welcome to a presentation of the latest enhancements and additions to TxSTUDIO. With TxSTUDIO 6, doctors can create 3D volume renderings on their own computer, get cross-sections, trace nerves, place implants, print and save images, analyze airways, and many more functions. Let's take a look at a few of the new features in TxSTUDIO 6. A new Endoview has been added to TxSTUDIO, offering a more complete examination of both internal and external tooth structures. Clinicians can more easily visualize internal canal morphology, including root curvature, number, and location of canals. After a tooth is selected, you may scroll through its axial and lateral views for a more thorough examination. Once the volume is segmented and a tooth is isolated, the pulp view control may be selected to allow for better visualization of the canal. Working length measurements can be performed in either the 2D cross-sectional views or the 3D pulp view to calculate root and endodontic file lengths. Simply choose measurement in the control panel, then place a beginning and an ending point in the visible canal. A dedicated airway view has been added to handle all airway analysis, allowing the user to seamlessly visualize, easily trace, and accurately measure the patient's airway in 3D. The Airway tab allows airway visualizations, access to the properties of the patient's airway, and additional tools for data export and presentations. By placing points along the segmented airway, a minimum area and volume is computed, as well as the anterior, posterior, and right and left distances. The airway volume can be rotated to allow for a more detailed analysis and to aid in doctor-patient discussions. You may segment the airway by selecting one of the sculpting tools to remove any unwanted anatomy. Also new to TxSTUDIO is the ability to create a fly-through simulation of the airway. There is now an export function that will allow for the creation and export of slice data, summary data, a 3D airway model, and graphs. In TxSTUDIO 6, the ability to view multiple scans has been added to the Superimposition tab. The Superimposition tab now allows for more than 2 scans to be loaded simultaneously. Any pair of scans can then be viewed by the doctor. An example of where this application might be particularly useful would be when pre, progress, and post scans are taken during orthodontic or OSA treatment. With TxSTUDIO 6, the user can now build separate maxillary and mandibular arch splines, enabling the cross-sections to be viewed more effectively. Maxillary and mandibular arch options allow 2 different arch splines to be created and saved. Switching between the 2 options changes which spine is manipulated and used in creating the panoramic and cross-sections. An Atomized Cloud is introduced in TxSTUDIO 6, allowing for faster and easier file sharing. Quick collaboration is achieved as the case can then be accessed for web-based viewing on any tablet, laptop, or mobile device. This brings a new level of collaboration and mobility to every practice. To send a case through an Atomized Cloud, the software prompts the user to sign in to an Atomized Cloud account. If no account was previously made, click Create Account to get started. After logging in, the user can input the recipient's name, email, message subject, and notes. This information and the link to accessing the case will be sent to the recipient's email. The recipient of the email can then download the file and view it on their full version of TxSTUDIO, or preview the case through the browser viewer, or to download the viewer and scan for further use. A new feature that allows for the customization of the software's workflow will bring smiles to the faces of previous users. By clicking on the File tab of the menu bar and selecting Manage Workflow, you'll be able to make changes in the workflow of the View tabs. A View tab's name may be changed by clicking on its name and editing it. You may also change the order of the tabs on the toolbar. For example, you might want to use the reorientation tools of the Section View tab to make adjustments in the volume's positioning before you begin planning your case. Therefore, it might be more efficient to relocate the Section View tab to the beginning of the list so it will open when the case loads into the software. A View tab may also be removed from or added to the toolbar. Let's remove the Superimposition tab. To lock in our changes, the software must be closed. Hereafter, when a scan is loaded into the software, the changes will be recognized. You will now see that the Section tab is open and the Superimposition tab has been removed from the list. New tools to download Implant library updates directly from the TxSTUDIO 6 user interface. For demonstration purposes, let's say that you use Neodent implants in your practice. When looking through the manufacturer's list in the control panel of the Implant tab, you find that they are not an available selection. Let's click on the setting icon on the toolbar and select Update Implant Library. By scrolling through the list of manufacturers, we find that Neodent is available to upload. Let's select Neodent and then Update. The software will need to be restarted to apply the update. Once the software relaunches, let's open Settings, but this time we will select Preferred Implant Settings. Let's click on Neodent to see the available products. Now we will click on each of them and use the right-facing arrow to add them to the product list. Neodent should now be shown as an available option. A new black and white color theme is introduced in TxSTUDIO 6. Two color themes are now available. When you first open TxSTUDIO 6, the default theme will be black and white, designed for a radiologist or the doctor that likes a more traditional radiology appearance. While this setting may be preferred by some, there is still the availability of the classic view. This is easily changed by clicking on the File tab of the menu bar, then opening and making changes in Preferences. Additional to those features already shown, TxSTUDIO offers other new and improved features. The software now allows for the export of restorations as an STL file. There's an improved PACS integration and easier capture file saving functions. TxSTUDIO 6 is based on a new multi-platform code to offer more consistent Mac and Windows versions. The software now allows for the adjustment of the brightness and contrast of each viewing window of the Section View tab. TxSTUDIO now offers smoother scrolling through the cross-sectional slices. A new toolbar function has been added to the Art Section tab that will allow for rotation of the cross-sectional slices. Lastly, onboard Intel graphics cards are now capable of effectively viewing 3D images. The minimum requirement is an Intel HD 4000, although an Intel Iris Pro option is more preferred. AMD and NVIDIA cards are still viable higher-end options. If you have any questions regarding TxSTUDIO 6, please do not hesitate to call iCat Technical Support at 800-205-3570.